Howdy, Iron Horse fans. Welcome to the Iron Horse Roundup. Once again, I am joined by my co-host, Robert Couch.
Hello, everybody.
And in this episode, we are going to be exploring the Fort Smith Trolley Museum in Fort Smith, Arkansas. The museum was established by the Fort Smith Streetcar Restoration Association, formed in 1979 to preserve and display transit history relating to Fort Smith. The first museum building was constructed in 1985 on former Missouri Pacific Railroad land, and purchases and donations of property in the 1990s allowed activities and storage to expand onto adjacent parcels. The museum even has an operating heritage streetcar.
The streetcar operations at the museum was inaugurated on May 19, 1991, using Fort Smith and Light Traction Company streetcar number 224, a Bernie-type streetcar built in 1926 by the American Car Company. In the first 7 months of operation through the end of 1991, more than 10,000 rides were given. The initial line was about a quarter-mile long, using Frisco freight tracks, along which FSSRA volunteers had installed trolley wire and support poles. It connected it to the car barn at 100 South 4th Street. Speaking of Frisco,
Although the museum focuses on trolleys, there are other assorted locomotives and rolling stock on display here as well, including my personal favorite here, Frisco 4003, a 282 Mikado built by the Alco in 1919 for the Pennsylvania Railroad, but later transferred to the Frisco Railroad, where it was put to work hauling freight trains between Fort Smith, Arkansas and Monette, Missouri. Like other railroads in the United States, however, time started to catch up with steam power, and diesel power was taken over. 4003 was retired in early 1952, shortly before the last steam-powered freight train on the Frisco between Birmingham and Bessemer, Alabama, in February. Frisco, however, kept the locomotive until 1954, when it donated it to the city of Fort Smith. The city placed it on display in K. Rogers Park, where it remained for almost 50 years, until being donated to the Fort Smith Trolley Museum in 2000. As with any railroad museum with only one steam locomotive, this is definitely my favorite piece there, and Robert always loves ringing the bell when given the chance.
I always like steam engines myself, and I always have a soft spot for Mocados.
Mm-hmm. Let's get some bell action, shall we? Take it away, Robert. Beautiful. That's the sound of the high iron back in the day. The museum also included a few diesel switchers. However, due to the fact that they are very faded and I could not find much info on them online, I will not be going into extreme detail on them as info is scant, although I will say one of the diesels was actually a gasoline locomotive built by Vulcan, so I guess it wasn't really a diesel locomotive, and another diesel was built for the United States Air Force Base. My favorite internal combustion engine here happens to be this little switcher named Mr. Peanut. Interesting name, wouldn't you say, Robert?
Yeah, I wonder if it worked at a peanut factory or something.
Who knows? As I said, I couldn't find much history on these locomotives, but I do like the smokestack on top of the cab.
It kind of looks like a plantation engine now that I think about it.
Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it? Other assorted rolling stock was on display at this museum, including this interesting little guy that has railroad wheels going one way and regular tires another way. Probably some kind of maintenance vehicle. A few cabooses here and there, of course. What railroad museum wouldn't have cabooses? And other historical museum pieces. The museum even had a mock-up of a western town. Oh, and I had to put Robert in jail while I was there.
I want my lawyer.
Who said anything about a lawyer, boy?
Next scene.
Before we proceed, I do want to add that humans were not the only ones volunteering at this trolley museum. There was also an assortment of felines, 20 of them. Let's meet these cats who run the place by lounging about like cats do best.
Yeah, I've seen so many cats in one spot in my life.
All right, let's interview these felines, shall we?
So a friend of mine built a locomotive with a diesel engine, a squash plate transmission, that all the parts can be bought off of the shelf anytime you want one.
What's the orange one's name again? Sorry for interrupting.
Oh, that one's name is it was named Jingles.
Jingles. Hey, Jingles.
I took him to Tucker to get it to get fixed, and the people at the vet place named it Jingles.
Ow.
Mm.
We gave it to 1 inch different gauge, so they'd have to rebuild the track. They'd have to have different cars. You know, they'd have the cars from that, but they've already got this. So a friend of mine built a little F unit type thing. They put new ties in, but they were treated wood. They weren't rubber creosoted wood ties. So now and also the rail was getting worn on one side.
Yeah, I remember going out there one time and it was...
And we might find a good solution for pushing it over.
Yeah, can do that too. Do I need to climb underneath it and push the door up?
No, I think one on each end of it with their fingers can get it up.
Yeah.
And if we get one up, then you can just reach under the other one and push it up.
Yeah.
Anyway, all the time. He came anywhere from 6 to 9 months every year and volunteered 7 days a week. And he was the kind of guy that when in the KCS, they got so many shares, we got so many shares in the new one, which is like 800 and something shares. But anyway, that stock dropped $8,000 last month. I was not happy.
So we got another cat here at the Trolley Museum in Fort Smith, Arkansas, on this fine General Electric, I think 40-ton switcher.
From the United States Air Force.
From the United States Air Force. Hey. Hey, yeah. What's your name? I don't see your name on the tag. I don't know this guy's name, but nice. You're a nice railroad kitty, ain't you? Are you the Shaq of felines? Nah, you're too friendly to be like Shaq.
I was not even her name. If the name was Shaq.
Let's take a brief look at the trolley shop now. Okay.
Anyway, was a diner in Ashdown at one time. And we got the body back and restored it to an operating car.
Yeah. Fort Smith has got a lot of history, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Robert here and I are train nerds.
Yeah, I work on the 2 steamers up in Tulsa, Frisco 4500 at Route 66.
They tore it down in the late 70s. We got the doors.
Ah.
And then in the pit, the clips on the rail came out of the roundhouse.
Okay.
And so did the ladders, the steps in the pit.
Cool. After a few mechanical issues that were finally worked out, we finally get to see the trolley in action as well as take a brief ride. while riding the trolley, I got a fine view of the axle below as part of the floor piece was missing.
Now for the bonus round, the Creekwood Park Railroad in Fort Smith. This little engine used to run at the park, but now been retired and will be featured at the museum.
But in the meantime, let's get the Creekmore Park Railroad in its present-day operation. Well, that wraps up the first episode to take place in the state of Arkansas. Hope you enjoyed, and may your lights be green on the high iron.
Thank you for watching and have a good one.